You know, summer's over and we're into October now. I think the day is the 23rd, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm losing track of time. Seriously. It's so spooky out. But it's appropriate setting, and I just wanted to do a low light setting. I didn't even want to use a light meter or anything, especially with this camera. The old antique camera that I'm still using. So I hope you can see me. So far away. Anyway, it's good to be back. I said I'd be back in the fall. I was hoping to be back in September. But I was dealing with some health issues. I don't know if you ever had acid reflux and I don't know, pain in my chest and so forth. Hope I can make it to the Grey Cup, but I got some series of x-rays coming up and so forth. That's when you're retired and you get older, things can happen pretty fast. I beat cancer when I was 29. I was lucky to do that, just by a fluke. I was supposed to die, actually, 40% chance of living. The two gentlemen that were in with me, Mike and Chris, I don't know why I was so lucky, but they passed. We used to exchange notes. They were amazing people. I still think of them, really. But let's get on to something positive. We all have to deal with our health and staying healthy. And if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, really, no matter what age you are. And I experienced that when I was 29, okay? So anyway, here I am, and I just got an email from my son, and he doesn't even know I'm going to do this, and I just decided to do this because it's a Halloween-type, spooky, windy, really windy day in Halifax, Nova Scotia, with the leaves all falling behind me and coming down with lots of rain. And we've had Dorian, the hurricane. It was brutal. I had to actually watch Bianca play Serena Williams. For some reason, my power, like 350,000 people lost their power in Nova Scotia. My power stayed on. I watched the whole match. Congratulations to our amazing 19-year-old, phenomenal tennis player. Such a young age, she was awesome. So congratulations, Bianca. And raise that Canadian flag. And anyway, and keep it up. Keep working hard. And you'll stay up there. So anyway, I'm back, and there's been a lot going on in the CFL, and I just want to, didn't prep anything, and I just want to basically, you know, improvise all this, whatever in my head. There's a monitor in front there that I couldn't get into the picture that I wanted to put my Facebook page up on and so forth, but I'm up on Facebook now, Spyder CFL Red-Zone Rule on Facebook. That's the page there, and there's all kinds of interesting things on it. And we're going to keep adding to it as well. But now I'm sort of gearing up to go to the Grey Cup because my son just sent me, like I was saying, he just sent me an email. He just sent me what the tickets look like, the Grey Cup, 107th Grey Cup. And pretty impressive, but I couldn't believe, I feel so guilty in a way. My son paid $460, because he's Stampeder season tickets now for 10 years, and he paid $460. Can you imagine? We're in the sixth row, but still, that's the Grey Cup ticket right there. I don't know if you can see it. This looks pretty cool. My son said it looks pretty cool right there. And anyway, my son was, there's a better shot. It will stay vertical. There, it keeps flipping. It's Samsung for you. Sorry, I will knock anybody with Samsung. I'm not really a fan. More of an old BlackBerry fan. But anyway, my son went on a trip and with some friends, and they went to Dallas, and I sent him an email. I'd like to read it to you because he said some really interesting things on it. Really, really interesting things, because I have an email I sent him, and the email I sent him, are you now an NFL fan? Because he was at the Dallas Cowboys, Eagles game, in that massive I don't know if it's $1 billion stadium. I don't know what the price tag looks to be. 100,000 people. Great place for a Super Bowl. I don't even follow the NFL, so I don't know if they even had a Super Bowl there yet, but if they haven't, they should. I said to my son, are you now an NFL fan and going to ditch the Stampeders, because he's got Stampeders season tickets, but we are CFL fans. You know, I mean, truly, we're for all the teams, but I think he's become a Stampeder fan, and we used to be Argonaut fans first and foremost, but I'm a Stampeder fan too, but I'm a fan of all the CFL teams, and so actually is my son, because we were the 2007 Grey Cup together, and we were for the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, and I'd like to see the Winnipeg Blue Bombers win the Grey Cup, or the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I mean, it's been 30 years almost, or it has been 30 years, but I say to my son, are you now an NFL fan and going to ditch the Stamps and the CFL? I probably can't blame you, because of all your friends are, like many Canadians are. I actually watched most of the Cowboys-Eagles game until I fell asleep, only because you were there. Pretty amazing stadium, huge and big money and huge support that all NFL teams have. Americans support their professional sports teams in huge numbers and don't knock their own brand of football like we do in Canada, and that's true, by the way. Even though they are 10 times larger in population than we are in Canada, they are still 1,000 times more loyal and supportive of the NFL and all their professional sports teams and leagues than Canada. And we are in Canada, or the so-called, I call Canadians, that don't support and run down the CFL. Hope you call Dad and tell me about your trip, and we need to talk about a flyer and a smaller banner that I would like to have. That's on my CFL Red-Zone Rule for the Grey Cup, and get them made in Calgary, because there's a better deal there in Halifax, okay? So he answers me, hi Dad, just today, not too long ago, an hour and a half ago, so before I set this up. Yes, I got back late last night, and I'm now working. No, I'm not an NFL fan at all. Silly thing to ask, probably, he says, or just maybe probably meant to say as well. I will say that the effort the NFL, their league, and NFL teams put it into promotion and promoting their teams and their game is first class and simply amazing to see. The support and love for their game, 4-down game, is truly awesome. The fans and crowd and stadium is unbelievable. That's talking about the Dallas stadium, Cowboy Stadium. The energy in the place is one of the best in the world. Really cool atmosphere, awesome to be able to see. He says these arrived when I got home. Pretty sharp pictures of the Grey Cup tickets. 107 Grey Cup tickets in Calgary. So, and what's interesting about that was that my son, I have a 2000 Grey Cup game in Calgary that we went to with my son when he was quite young, and the Guess Who played at halftime. Also, here's another one. Hope this doesn't fall off, my Spyder CFL Red-Zone Rule, by my Spider-Man picture. Here's another one. The 97th Grey Cup. That was the 2000s Grey Cup. No, in 2000, sorry. That was the 88th Grey Cup, I guess, in 2000. And the 97th Grey Cup in 2009, okay, in Calgary. When the 13th Man Grey Cup, when the Alouettes beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the last play of the game, on that penalty. I don't want, sorry, Saskatchewan Roughriders, but we also were the 2007 Grey Cup together and other Grey Cups together. So and this one coming up, and I didn't have time to dig those hats up, but I have them somewhere, or some of them, a few of them. Anyway, so that's that. Isn't that cool? And this is a signed football by Mitchell, his practice ball at a Stampeder practice. Okay, a couple of years ago. They get me as a gift. Okay, so these are all commemorative. The hats, and you know, this is sort of not really commemorative, but it's sort of you know, a treasure to have as a gift from my son. Okay, I use that for my set actually. I will be back on my set next week. By the way, if you're wondering what this is all about, my full set, and I will be doing a session on why the Red Blacks, and before the Alouettes were so bad, why, and the Red Blacks this year are so bad, and the BC Lions, why they were so bad. I'm going to have a session on that, and then I'm going to do another session for the caretaker, because I didn't include the optional provision part. I mentioned it in my presentation. I'm going to eliminate the intro, just brief on it, and go right into it. That way I won't have to speed talk it. Another special edition for the caretaker, Mr. Bob Young, on my CFL Red-Zone Rule. And I'm going to cover all the rules, including the optional provision part, and go over the whole thing in a professional presentation just for the caretaker again, and just for you people out there. And I hope more and more Spyder CFL Red-Zone fans will jump on board. And I talked about a radio blitz, but I didn't do it because I had a few health issues to deal with. I'm better now. Hopefully I'll make it. Hopefully my health will stay is intact, so I can get to the Grey Cup. Okay, with my son. So now I decided not to do the blitz at this time, but I'm going to do it. But I'm trying to work out a way. I'm figuring out a way that how I can get my CFL Red-Zone Rule out to Bo Levi Mitchell and other CFL quarterbacks and GMs and coaches and owners and so forth. I'm trying to come up with a plan to do that. I won't tell you how I'm going to do it, but I'm gonna have a plan, and I believe it's going to work. Also, at the Grey Cup game, you're going to see my son and I with our CFL Red-Zone Rule hats, the new one, Spyder CFL Red-Zone Rule hat, and I'm going to probably have a smaller banner made than the huge banner I used when I did my song, my full version of my song, Spyder CFL Red-Zone Rule song. And hopefully I like to have some flyers I could hand out and so forth. But please, okay, I don't want anyone to be rude and ignorant towards me and my son in wearing my CFL Red-Zone Rule hats or the banner we're carrying or whatever. Because the reason I say that, because I was going on a bit on Let's Talk CFL, the Schooner site, right? It's owned by Christopher. He owns all Let's Talk CFL podcasts, which I listened to faithfully from the beginning. And I've never knocked him. I've actually said positive things and used, sorry, tongue twister. My throat's a bit dry, but I have a little snort here. I mean, it's not beer, it's just water. And I never ever knocked him or anybody in their podcasts or anybody. I mean, I don't do that. And they work hard. They put a lot of effort in that. But for him to allow people to go on, because I read it, I couldn't believe it. Because someone posted a picture of one of my YouTube sessions. I think his name was Brad McDonald. Okay, I believe that was his name. And he said some good things, and everything. And this one person went on, that's one of his members, and really, like, it was really a bully, really almost like, it was brutal. He said, like, I'm a drunk, like he said, I'm spaced out, basically drunk. Like, it was awful. Like, I'm not a drunk. I don't even hardly drink. I'll take an occasional beer and a glass of wine. I'm not spaced out on drug, like he said, like spaced out. And he said, like, something else really awful. I can't remember. I don't even want to remember. It's so bad. And then Christopher Jones allows him to say this about me and my CFL Red-Zone Rule, and then other people were attacking my CFL Red-Zone Rule. And then Christopher Jones, the owner of Let's Talk CFL, he was going after me. He said, oh, it's the dumbest rule. Like, and he said, told me to get a life and all that. Like, it was unbelievable. He was attacking me again. Not as viciously as this person was doing. And I thought it was awful, because I thought it was hypocritical of him, because he was on this Let's Talk CFL broadcast show, Christopher Jones, and really upset about people attacking him. And they said they had no right to bash him, attack him, and attack his podcast and attack him personally. But you know, abuse. You know, like I was being abused by this person and others and him. You know, and he's saying, oh, it's like it's not 4-down football, Christopher, Mr. Jones. It's not 4-down football. How's it 4-down football? 4-down football would be, by the way, my CFL Red-Zone Rule is already there. It's in place. They can use it every time they're in the red zone. But they only use it on the 1 yard line. They don't use it on the 2, the 3, the 4, or the 5 even. Or the 2 even. Or, of course, they don't use it on the 5, 4, 3, or even the 2. And they've done that many times to kick another easy chip shot field goal. So my rule's already in place, but they don't use my 3rd down. My CFL Red-Zone Rule is an enforcement rule. And if they need the 3rd down to score a touchdown, my CFL Red-Zone Rule is an enforcement rule, so they got to go for it 3rd down to score a touchdown. It would be way more exciting. I just talked to some people recently about my CFL Red-Zone Rule. They're all NFL fans and laugh at the CFL and give me all the reasons why they don't watch the CFL. And my CFL Red-Zone Rule completely covers all their complaints, and they love my rule, man. And so, Christopher, Mr. Jones, so if getting back to my rules, obviously you didn't study to go over it or listen to it. I'm sure you don't know about the optional provisional part as well. But getting back to my rule in the CFL Red-Zone Rule, on 3rd down, if it's needed to score a touchdown, there's my CFL Red-Zone Rule's enforcement rule. So they have to play exciting CFL 3-down football to score a touchdown 3rd down. Now, if they maintain possession of the ball in the red zone and aren't forced outside the red zone, they get my CFL Red Zone kick, but a more challenging kick from the 35-yard line. Okay, where they have to kick my CFL Red Zone Rule. They can't fake it. Okay, and go for a touchdown and 4th down from the 35. That's not part of my rule. It's an attachment rule. And by the way, if it's a huge defensive play, which would be to stop them in 3rd down to prevent a touchdown in the red zone, but if they force them outside defensively in the red zone, okay, they don't get to kick my CFL Red Zone kick. And by the way, 4-down football is American football. And in the red zone, if they need their 4th down to score a touchdown, they can use it because it's 4 downs. Our game's a 3-down game. So my CFL Red Zone Rule is not 4-down football, Mr. Jones. Anyway, but let's get back on track here. So also, there was someone else on his Let's Talk CFL Schooner site, and they really liked my rule. And they bashed him, and I noticed they took him off because they didn't see his name there anymore. They took him off, bashed him, like all of them, and other people that are on Let's Talk CFL podcast were bashing him too, so badly, and other people on the site. It was bad. He didn't do anything wrong. He just likes my rule. Is he loud? You know, it's unbelievable. And then, okay, on Rob Peterson, some people were really, they don't like the Canadian ratio for many reasons. And I noticed that person was shut down. I don't even watch Rod Peterson's show anymore. Not because I don't like his show or I'm going to bash him, but for that reason I thought that was really rude. I'll probably tune back in because I'm not that person to hold a grudge against you, Mr. Christopher Jones, but I think I'm owing an apology. Or you should take that person down. You can go down and still find what he said. When I think Brad McDonald put that picture of one of my YouTube sessions up and made a nice comment about it, and you can eliminate that person and take him off, which he should be taken off, and you shouldn't be, running me down either. I don't run you down. Anyway, so I don't want to talk any more about this, but I don't want anybody approaching us in an aggressive way or a bully way or try to harm me or my son over my CFL Red Zone Rule, or I'll call the authorities right on the spot. So, just be cool and just, lay off and show some respect like I do for you and your podcast, all your podcasts. I mean, first down podcast guy, I think he took a shot at me too. I never taken ever shot at him in his podcast. Okay? Anyway, thank God for all the people I surveyed, for Steve Armitage and people that are really tuned in to my CFL Red-Zone Rule and really showed it respect and gave it the time of day and really covered it and understood it and was really sold on it and did their homework and took the time to know everything about it, which, by the way, the CFL and Mr. Ambrosi did as well. But I don't hold anything against Mr. Ambrosi, and I don't want to be crucified for it either. By the way, I don't want to be crucified. By the way, we're going to do 2 sessions, I believe, today. One back-to-back here because I got a lot of things I want to talk about. I don't want to crucify. I don't want you to crucify me because the way I feel about Mr. Ambrosi and the CFL and the way they handle my CFL Red-Zone Rule. But if they would have done that to you, I think you'd feel the same way as me. But I don't hold a grudge against Mr. Ambrosi. And if he is any kind of a man at the Grey Cup, if he sees me with my CFL Red-Zone hats and my son, the way my son has supported and we have supported the CFL and been to many Grey Cups, and my son's now 10 straight years of 2-season Calgary Stampeder 2-season tickets, and the money we spent $1,000 for 2 tickets to go to the Greg. I'm going to spend all kinds of money when I go out there. He should come up to me and apologize and start talking to me about my CFL Red-Zone Rule in a positive way and to get on board with it. He'd be doing something, because I'll tell you something else interesting about why I'm saying this. I was listening today, and I've never listened to, by the way, Bo Levi Mitchell's first time, I'm sorry, podcast. I only knew this about, I don't know, a while back, that I never knew even how to find it, but I found it on Sportsnet. So I listened to some of it before I did that. And by the way, also on 3 Down Nation, Justin Dunk and Edwards, you allowed a lot of people to, and it could have been you as well, using different names, because I heard you do that. People are on there talking positively about my CFL many times, about my CFL Red Zone, and about the Canadian ratio, how it needs to be, that they're not sold on. They want it gone, like the owners wanted it gone in the new collective bargaining agreement, and nothing happened, and they made it worse. And now, if a global player is to start, it takes away a Canadian position. Takes away an American position, not a Canadian position. Their Canadian starter ratios and their half the racial roster is not touched. Guaranteed half the racial roster is not touched. So anyway, they did the same thing. They took these people down that were sold my CFL Red-Zone Rule and wanted the Canadian ratio limit. So Justin Dunk, you're very political, and you shouldn't be doing that stuff. I don't run you down. I don't run the 3 Down Nation down. Okay? I don't run down what you're doing. And you shouldn't be running down my CFL Red-Zone Rule. And you shouldn't be running down people that like my CFL Red-Zone Rule. How's that ever going to get out? I mean, if people did that every time to you and Rob Peterson and Let's Talk CFL, Mr. Christopher Jones, you had nobody listening. If they were crucifying you every time you had an opinion or you believed in something that you liked and you were sold on, it's unbelievable. But anyway, I was listening to this gentleman who I'd love to get my CFL Red-Zone Rule to, who's doing CFL games now on TSN, Mr. Nielsen. Dustin Nielsen, and he was saying something really interesting. Was saying that the CFL needs younger demographics, and they should do a survey, basically, like you were saying, a poll to see why, because there's so many that run the CFL down their own country that have nothing. You wouldn't believe in their own country, own brand of football, and only watch the NFL and just keep bashing the CFL. Look at all the empty seats. Look at the TV ratings. Look. Under 300,000, 3 games this year, and attendance dropping big time, and ratings down like it's unbelievable. Look at all the empty seats; it's embarrassing. So anyway, he was saying they should poll people and ask them why. Or I already did that in my survey. And I'd love to get him the information, the data I collected, and everything on that. By the way, everything, they were all legitimate complaints about the CFL or three-down game and why they only watch the NFL in their own country. And that's how I come up with my CFL Red-Zone Rule, to address all the complaints. And that's how powerful my CFL Red-Zone Rule is. And everybody, including people just recently that I surveyed, they're just blown away by it. They said, what an unbelievable rule. I'd start watching CFL, they said, if they would implement your rule. And he said, make sure you patent it, that they don't steal it. And I said, well, I've already patented it, copyrighted it. So anyway, but I have their email. So anyway, but they should come to the table, the CFL, if they want to grow their game, if they want the best rule, not only in the history of CFL, but in all of football, my CFL Red-Zone Rule, and it'll make our game a lot better, I can guarantee you. And you're going to see a guaranteed 18% more touchdowns scored in the red zone, and very easily obtainable 20% amongst 9 CFL teams in the CFL for a full regular season, a touchdown scored in the red zone. And possibly up to 25% an average percentage of touchdowns scored in the red zone amongst 9 CFL teams for a completed regular CFL season. So anyway, I'm soon timing out, believe it or not. Yes, I am. I'm almost at 27 minutes, so I'm going to probably come right back and do another one back to back here because I have more to say, but I'm just, there's no prepping here. I'm just improvising everything. And so signing off because it's going to be timing out in 27 minutes.